Imagine a cage that isn't made of iron bars, but of neurons and neurochemicals. A prison that you carry with you every single waking second of your life. We all like to believe that we are the masters of our own destiny, that the clothes we buy, the stocks we trade, and the hours we work are all products of our free will. But the cold, hard reality of neuroscience suggests something much more sinister. Welcome to Human Grid. Today, we are deconstructing a truth that most financial gurus are too afraid to touch. Your brain is biologically hardwired to keep you poor. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It is the direct result of 200,000 years of human evolution. You see, evolution didn't optimize your brain for wealth, luxury, or long-term financial freedom. It optimized your brain for one thing: survival until tomorrow morning. In this deep dive, we are exposing the poverty trap. We will explore how financial struggle physically rewires your brain, shifting you from a logic-based creature into a fear-based machine. We will look at why your brain actually penalizes you for being broke, and how modern economic systems have been engineered to exploit these ancient biological vulnerabilities. If you feel like you're running a race on a treadmill, working harder than everyone else but staying in the exact same place, it's because you are fighting a war against your own biology. By the end of this video, you won't just understand the trap. You will have the neurological blueprint to dismantle it. Let's break the code. To understand why it is so difficult to escape financial struggle, we have to look at the cognitive tax of being broke. In 2013, a groundbreaking study was conducted by researchers at Harvard and Princeton. They studied two very different groups: shoppers in a New Jersey mall and sugarcane farmers in India. The results were terrifying. They found that when a person is preoccupied with financial problems, their cognitive function, their ability to process information and make logical choices, drops by 13 IQ points. To put that into perspective, a 13-point drop is the equivalent of losing an entire night of sleep or being under the influence of alcohol. This means that if you are worried about rent, or a car repair, or a mounting credit card bill, you are literally operating with a compromised brain. This phenomenon is called Scarcity Brain. When resources are low, the brain experiences a bandwidth crunch. Think of your brain like a high-end computer processor. On a normal day, you have 100% of your processing power available to solve problems, learn new skills, and plan for the future. But the moment scarcity enters the room, 60% of that processing power is immediately hijacked by survival background tasks. Your brain begins to tunnel. It focuses so intensely on the immediate fire, the bill due tomorrow, that it loses the ability to see the peripheral opportunities. This is why people in poverty often make decisions that seem irrational to those with money. It's not a lack of intelligence, it's a lack of cognitive bandwidth. The brain is so busy surviving the next 24 hours that it physically cannot calculate the next 24 months. This is the first and most powerful layer of the human grid. It doesn't just take your money. It takes your ability to think your way out. To understand the poverty trap, we have to look at the internal war happening inside your skull. Your brain is not a single, unified machine. It is a collection of layers built on top of each other over millions of years. At the front, you have the prefrontal cortex, PFC, the CEO of your brain. This is where logic, long-term planning, and financial strategy live. Behind it, buried deep in the center, is the amygdala, an ancient, almond-shaped cluster that acts as your body's smoke detector. Its only job is to detect threats and trigger the fight or flight response. In a state of financial security, the CEO, PFC, is in charge. You can look at a 10-year investment plan and see the logic. You can say no to an impulse purchase because your CEO knows it will hurt your long-term goals. But the moment you experience financial stress, a biological coup d'etat occurs. The amygdala senses the threat of not having enough money. To your ancient brain, not having money feels exactly like not having food or being hunted by a predator. In response, the amygdala floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline. It effectively unplugs the prefrontal cortex. It says, "We don't have time for 10-year plans. We need to survive now." This is the amygdala hijack. When you're in this state, your brain loses its ability to think abstractly. You become hyper-reactive. This is why people who are struggling often make high-risk gambles or take out high-interest payday loans. Their logical CEO has been locked in the basement, and their panicked survivalist is now driving the car. The human grid thrives on this state of panic because a panicked person is easy to manipulate and impossible to liberate. If the amygdala is the engine of the poverty trap, then dopamine is the fuel. We often hear about dopamine as the pleasure chemical, but in reality, it is the seeking chemical. It is what motivates us to pursue rewards. In a healthy environment, your brain gets dopamine from achieving long-term goals, finishing a project, seeing your savings grow, or learning a new skill. However, when you are trapped in the stress of scarcity, your brain is starved of winning signals. Chronic stress lowers your baseline dopamine levels, leaving you in a state of dopamine debt. You feel exhausted, unmotivated, and emotionally drained. To fix this, your brain begins to look for cheap dopamine, instant, low-effort hits that provide immediate relief from the pain of stress. This is the biological reason behind retail therapy. When you're stressed about your debt, your brain ironically pushes you to spend $50 on a new gadget or an expensive meal. Why? Because that purchase provides a temporary spike of dopamine that numbs the cortisol in your system for a few minutes. The human grid is perfectly engineered to provide these exit ramps. Modern marketing doesn't sell you products. It sells you dopamine band-aids for your financial wounds. Every time you scroll through a shopping app or order fast food because you had a hard day, you're paying off a biological debt with your financial future. You're trading a brick of your future mansion for a single minute of emotional silence today. Breaking this trap requires more than just willpower. It requires a total restructuring of how you provide your brain with the rewards it craves. To truly understand why the cycle of poverty is so hard to break, we have to look at a concept known as cognitive bandwidth. Think of your mind like a high-performance computer processor. Every task you perform, from driving your car to solving a math problem, requires a certain amount of RAM or processing power. In a state of financial abundance, your survival tasks are automated. You don't have to spend mental energy calculating if you have enough money for the electricity bill, or if your credit card will be declined at the grocery store. Because these basic needs are met, your background processes are clear. Your brain has 90% of its bandwidth available for high-level tasks, learning a new language, starting a side business, or analyzing market trends. However, when you are in the poverty trap, your processor is constantly overheating. Research shows that the mental load of poverty is the equivalent of running a heavy software program in the background of your mind 24/7. You are constantly calculating, constantly worrying, and constantly navigating small crises. How will I get to work if the bus is late? Can I afford the medicine my kid needs? This is the bandwidth tax. By the time a person in the human grid sits down to try and learn a new skill or plan their escape, Their mental processor is already at 99% capacity. They aren't lazy or unmotivated. They are literally out of RAM. This exhaustion leads to decision fatigue. This is why, after a long day of struggling to survive, people make the worst financial decisions at night. Their willpower is a finite resource that has been taxed to zero by the simple act of existing in a state of scarcity. To escape, you cannot just work harder. You have to find a way to clear the background processes. Now, we have to address the uncomfortable truth. The world you live in was not designed for your freedom. It was designed for your consumption. If Section 1 through 5 explained the internal trap, Section 6 is about the external grid that is built to keep those internal traps active. Modern consumerism is essentially neurocapitalism. Large corporations and financial institutions don't just hire marketers, they hire neuroscientists. They understand the amygdala hijack and the dopamine debt better than you do. Every aspect of the modern economy, from the buy now, pay later buttons to the infinite scroll of social media, is engineered to trigger your scarcity brain. When you see a limited time offer, that is a direct attack on your amygdala. It creates a false sense of scarcity that forces your prefrontal cortex to shut down. When an app sends you a notification about a sale, it is looking to exploit your dopamine debt, offering you a quick hit of winning in exchange for your hard-earned capital. Even the way our cities and work cultures are designed contributes to the trap. By keeping people in a state of constant time scarcity, working long hours with long commutes, the system ensures that you never have the bandwidth to think critically about the grid itself. You're kept too tired to rebel and too stressed to plan. The human grid relies on a population that is cognitively taxed and biologically reactive. Once you realize that your impulses are actually engineered responses, the external grid begins to lose its power over you. You stop being a user in the system and start becoming an architect of your own reality. If the poverty trap is biological, then your escape must be biological. You cannot willpower your way out of a compromised brain. You have to hack the system from the inside out. To dismantle the human grid within you, you must follow the 3 pillars of the escape protocol. Pillar 1. Automate to liberate. As we discussed, the bandwidth tax is what keeps you stuck. Your first priority is to reduce the number of financial decisions you make every day. Even if you're only saving $10 a week, automate it. Set your bills to autopay. Use a simple budgeting app that does the math for you. Every automated financial task is a background program you've closed on your mental processor. By reducing decision fatigue, you are physically freeing up the IQ points you need to spot the real opportunities for growth. Pillar 2. The 72-hour dopamine buffer. The external grid relies on your impulsivity. To break this, you must install a manual kill switch between your impulse and your action. For any non-essential purchase, you must wait 72 hours. This isn't just about saving money. It's about waiting for your amygdala to calm down and your prefrontal cortex to come back online. During these 72 hours, the cheap dopamine hit fades, and your logical brain will almost always realize the purchase was a biological trap. Pillar 3. High-value input loading. Your brain is a prediction machine. If you feed it content that triggers fear, outrage, or envy, it stays in survival mode. To shift into wealth mode, you must aggressively curate your environment. Replace 30 minutes of mindless scrolling with 30 minutes of system-level learning. Read about macroeconomics, psychology, or technical skills. You are essentially reprogramming your brain's pattern recognition. When you feed your brain high-value information, it stops looking for threats and starts looking for leverage. You aren't just learning, you're expanding your bandwidth. The human grid is not a physical wall. It is a mental frequency. It is a state of existence where you are reactive, exhausted, and biologically prone to staying exactly where you are. But the moment you understand the mechanics of the trap, the bars start to disappear. You now know that your failures weren't always due to a lack of character, but a lack of cognitive bandwidth. You know that the system is engineered to keep your amygdala in control. And most importantly, you now have the tools to start reclaiming your processor. Breaking the cycle of poverty is the hardest thing a human being can do because it requires fighting your own evolution. But it is possible. It starts with one automated payment, one skipped impulse purchase, and 1 hour of deep learning. Every small win increases your bandwidth, and every bit of bandwidth increases your ability to win. If this deep dive gave you a new perspective on your own mind, hit that subscribe button and join us. Here at Human Grid, we don't just look at the world, we look at the systems that build it. Share this video with someone who feels stuck. Sometimes, the only thing someone needs to escape a cage is to realize they are in one. This is the Human Grid. I'll see you in the next one.